My name's Charlie Walters, and I've spent 20 years as a trainer, traditionally financial organisations and institutions, but broader than that. My particular areas of interest and expertise are first of all on the management and the leadership side, but then from a communications perspective as a negotiations expert. I started my career as a recruitment consultant and a recruitment manager for a large investment company in London. And I spent all day, every day, negotiating. What interested me was how everyone seemed to bring themselves to that negotiation so very differently. And I guess that kind of lit the flame for me on this particular subject, which is how do people bring themselves differently to negotiations, and how do they get different value? We start off by asking the question, what are the realities of negotiating? In other words, what really happens when you are negotiating? Then we start to ask the question, right, how can you do better than that? How can you improve on the types of outcomes that you get at the moment? And then the final phase is more nuanced and creative negotiating techniques to try and build rich conversations to create value for yourself and potentially for your negotiating partners. First of all, we begin by looking at how do you plan for a negotiation. And that's something that I think really focuses a lot of people when they're preparing to negotiate. What can I plan? What can I prepare? It's the in-negotiation techniques to enable you to pivot, to develop your strategy and to change, to try to build a valuable conversation which will enable you to give quality outcomes for both you and for your other negotiating partners in the discussion. There are three real key areas of takeaway. There's the planning, which we look at early on day one. There's the understanding the realities of what's actually going on for them in their negotiations right now. And then there are the techniques we start to build through the 3 days. So the creation of value, the dialogue, the influencing skills we look at on the way through, and then finally those more nuanced pieces on day 3 around unlocking conflict and those really difficult emotional aspects of negotiating. Absolutely, and I encourage it from the outset of the program. I always think that the program works best when practically every delegate in the room gets 5 or 10 minutes of room time where we just discuss their own particular negotiation. And that really enriches the program as well.